All right, let's get into a story that kicks off with a simple yet totally baffling piece of advice. It's a riddle that's going to drive a king right to the edge of madness, and his minister, well, too much darker fate.
The leg of the deceiver goes into the pit. So this is it. This is the phrase at the heart of our entire story. It sounds like some ancient proverb, right? A cryptic warning? But what on earth could it actually mean? Let's figure it out.
Okay, so our story kicks off in a prosperous kingdom. It's ruled by a pretty good king, but his entire life gets turned upside down when a mysterious sage comes to visit.
So get this, the sage hangs out at the palace for a whole week, but the entire time he doesn't say a single word, not one. Finally, as he's about to leave, the king is practically begging him for some piece of wisdom. The sage just gives him a little smile and says that one thing. The leg of the deceiver goes into the pit. And then he's just gone.
And this is the question that just completely takes over the king's mind. He can't stop thinking about it. What pit? Who's the deceiver? It's a total mystery, and it's about to set off a truly desperate and dangerous hunt for the truth.
So what starts as just a little bit of curiosity, well, it spirals into something way, way more dangerous. The king becomes obsessed. He has to know the answer, and honestly, he's willing to do just about anything to get it. And the escalation here is, wow, it's dramatic. First, he calls in every scholar, every judge, all the wise men in the kingdom. Nobody has a clue. Then the king starts to get physically sick over it. Can't eat, can't sleep. In a final crazy move, he offers up half his entire kingdom as a reward. And he puts his most trusted minister on the spot with a terrifying ultimatum.
And that's the deadline he gives his minister. 1 month, 30 days to figure out what this proverb means. And if he fails, he'll be executed. The stakes literally could not be higher.
So the minister, absolutely terrified, takes off on this impossible quest. Days go by, then weeks, nothing. And then, just when all hope seems lost, something incredible happens. He stumbles upon a young boy, just digging a small pit in a pathway. When the minister tells him to stop, the boy just shrugs and says, "Why? The leg of the deceiver goes into the pit." The exact same words. Can you imagine? Now the boy has the answer, but he's not just going to hand it over. He's cautious. So the minister plays it smart. He brings the boy home, treats him like his own son, and over the next 10 days, he slowly earns his trust. Finally, on the very last night, with the deadline looming, the minister just breaks down, pleading for his life. The boy sees he's for real, and finally, he explains everything.
So the minister's saved. He's got the answer. He's off the hook. But right when he should be feeling relief, something else, something much darker, starts to creep in. A little seed of greed starts to grow.
His mind starts racing. Wait a minute, half the kingdom. He starts thinking, why should some random kid get all the credit? I could teach the answer to my own son, make him a prince. It's a brilliant plan to secure his family's future. But there's one problem. For that to work, the boy, well, he has to go. Permanently.
And his plan is just chillingly simple. Step 1. He hires 2 guys he knows will do whatever he says. Step 2. He positions them at a brand new well he had dug on his farm. Step 3. He gives them their orders. The very first person to show up at that well, kill them. No questions asked. And step 4. He makes up a fake errand and sends the unsuspecting boy walking right into the trap.
The trap is set. The bait is on the move. The minister is convinced his plan is absolutely perfect, but fate? Fate has a serious curveball to throw.
So as it gets dark, he hands the boy a lamp and tells him to go to the farm and measure the depth of the new well. And the boy, he trusts this man completely. He takes the lamp and heads off into the night, walking towards his own death.
But then, a twist. A completely random chance encounter changes everything. Just a few streets from the house, the boy bumps into the minister's own son. When the son hears about the errand, he says, "You don't know how to do that. Give me the lamp, I'll go instead." He grabs the lamp, heads to the farm, and the innocent boy turns around and goes back to the minister's house.
Imagine the scene. The minister is at home, probably feeling pretty smug, and then he sees the boy walk back in. His blood must have run ice cold. The perfect trap he built is about to snap shot on the one person he was trying to elevate. In that single instant, it all clicks into place. The lamp, the errand, the boy being back here, it means it's not the boy walking to that well. It's his own son, his heir, his future.
There's no plan now. Just pure, raw panic. He doesn't even think. He just runs. He bolts out of the house and sprints towards the farm, just hoping, praying he can get there in time to stop his own horrific plan.
He gets to the farm, it's dark. He's shouting for his son, but there's no answer. Nothing. He fears the absolute worst, that his son is already dead at the bottom of the well. So, in his terror, he does the only thing he can think of. He starts climbing down into the dark pit to find him.
And this is the exact moment the proverb becomes reality. The henchmen, hidden nearby, just see a figure go down into the well. They have no idea who it is. All they know are their orders. Kill the first person who arrives. And so they start throwing massive boulders into the pit. The Deceiver has literally walked into his own pit.
So, how does this all come out? Well, it unravels pretty fast. The minister's son shows up, sees what's happening, and catches one of the henchmen. The guy spills the entire story to the king. The king calls for the boy, who explains that he gave the minister the answer. And right there, in that moment, the king has his epiphany. He finally gets it.
So, you see, the answer to the riddle wasn't some deep philosophical idea. The story of the minister was the answer. He tried to deceive everyone, digging this metaphorical pit of lies and murder, and in the end, it was his own leg, his own life that went into it.
And that's really what the Deceiver's pit is all about. It's not just a hole in the ground. It's this timeless idea, right? That the universe has a funny way of making sure the traps we set for other people are the very ones we fall into ourselves. The deceit you create becomes your own prison. Or in this case, your own grave.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. This story is a perfect, if brutal, illustration of how deceit destroys itself. But it really begs the question, doesn't it? If this is the grim, fatal trap that deceit builds, what about honesty? What kind of foundation does that build instead?